In this video, I want to discuss the question, do Zelda fans hate Tears of the Kingdom exactly? And right off the bat, is this really true? Well, maybe, but let me confirm through here. I took this topic out of my Zelda ranking video I previously did. I'll spoil the video a little bit, but I ended up putting Breath of the Wild on number 6 and Tears of the Kingdom at number 5. Though I did mention that they could be at number 1, and I would agree, but the comments I got on that video were pretty much like, yeah, Tears of the Kingdom is overrated and Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask is the best Zelda game. It's a sin to place Tears of the Kingdom that low. That's not exactly what they said. I'm not gonna do any shoutouts on them, but I wanted to mention where I got this idea from. I also got it from a poll I did on YouTube before Tears of the Kingdom came out. Basically, a majority of people said Breath of the Wild was the best 3D Zelda game. There were only 24 who did vote on that though, but I think this was reasonable to mention. So what's my point of view as a longtime Zelda fan who first played Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask? Is nostalgia getting in the way of my opinions on Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom? I'll say no, I don't want it to be the reason. In fact, I don't have the nostalgia feel on the N64 Zelda games anymore because I play them way too much, especially for glitching, I guess. And I think it's way too cliche that it's my reason, just as a thought. Really, I just think Tears of the Kingdom is an awesome game. Playing it through had me blown away on the first playthrough with what they had to offer. I'm not going to spoil it hard, other than it's similar to Breath of the Wild's formats with the shrines, towers, Koroks, and not fun dungeons, you know. But those things I just mentioned are perhaps key points on why veterans to the Zelda series might not care for the newer Zelda games, especially Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. In particular, the open world logic from Breath of the Wild instead of a driven story would turn off some Zelda fans. The stories in a previous Zelda game are what made me love Zelda is the thing. I did love the dungeons and I found 100%ing the games very enjoyable, especially Majora's Mask. But I'm obsessed with these stories like in Majora's Mask where Link is probably dead the whole time, or Ocarina of Time being tied to how it's like to grow up with the world changing around you, that kind of relationship. And it's even cool that the Zelda series has official lore from Nintendo, especially in the Hyrule Historia and so on. And here's my point, first time players aren't gonna care for most of that, I think. That just depends. They care for the game to simply be fun and interesting in the features most of the time, which I will say first playthrough, that should be the main case, of course, and I think Tears of the Kingdom did that very well. But to Zelda fans, it can sometimes feel like a turn away from what I just mentioned, from what I loved about Zelda. Both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are the best selling games in the series in general though. Like Tears of the Kingdom even made 10 million in just around 3 days. I think that's what I read, which is pretty insane, a record for the series. The logic is working and refreshing, but it pretty much can have the grunting whispers to those who played even the oldest games in the series that haven't even cracked the high selling copies before. But just to simply ease the criticism away now, yes, I think Nintendo is trying to reinvent the series so it doesn't dry up exactly, because really around Skyward Sword is when the series with that older logic from, you know, from Ocarina of Time began to dry up a little. Because the overworld felt too limited and backtracking was just annoying in that game, with the same environments, which I would agree on. So then, a link between worlds would push to allow you to choose a dungeon in any order you want, which is pretty cool. But on the other hand, they were ambitious to take Breath of the Wild into the next huge level, and Nintendo began to be more interested in changing Zelda entirely. Mostly, not all of it, I should say, just kind of the main thing here, if you know what I mean. Gone were the likes of 100%ing Majora's Mask every time, getting the Fierce Deity, Link, and the Great Fairy Sword, which were awesome rewards. Instead, you're collecting over 900 Korok seeds only to get Golden Turd. Like, whoever wants that? Just, you're probably out of your minds if you're trying to do that. Gone were the dungeons like Arbiter's Grounds in Twilight Princess or the Shadow Forest Temple from Ocarina of Time. Instead, you get dungeons like the Divine Beast that are more than remembered for being not that good, simply. and Tears of the Kingdom, they could be a little bit better, but they're just not going to compare to the older ones. Gone was the focus of a story and more on messing around, torturing Koroks, or getting sidetracked easily. Okay, so my whole point then, from all I've just said, is that change is freaking hard, man. Especially over something you are obsessed with. It's simply like moving out from your old town to somewhere completely different, which most times it's not a fun experience. It's stressful and homesickening at first with all the new people and new places. And you can either accept that or have a past controlled life torturing you to even change your mindset on a better future. To me, this is where the Zelda series stands to me as a Zelda veteran, and I guess I could accept the change. I'll still say that Tears of the Kingdom Breath of the Wild are awesome, enjoyable games that I actually did play a lot. All I've just said during the video is probably not true, but I just wanted to get to the point strongly on saying this. Once again, do Zelda fans hate Tears of the Kingdom? Well, you decide. Otherwise, I say only because it's very different, but I will agree that hate is a strong word even for this title. So simply saying that Zelda fans calling Tears of the Kingdom probably not their favorite Zelda game is a lot more reasonable, maybe compared to a lot of people out there. And that's all I have to say. Alright, subscribe and like. Bye!